Adam Hill and Ed Graney from the Review Journal here at the Raiders team facility, where they just had a press conference introducing new general manager John Spytek and new head coach Pete Carroll. Saw a couple of players around here. We saw Max Crosby, Colton Miller, some former players. Marshawn Lynch was around, who's a former player of Pete Carroll, to hear what was going on, what they had to say about their new roles. And Ed, what was your big takeaway from hearing from Spytek and Carroll for the first time?
Well, they had a lot to say, as you and I were talking about. The press conference went on for a bit, and they all had, I think, they're good questions, good answers. They seem to be on the same page. They seem to be copacetic in terms of, and you hope they are at this point because they're just starting out, but they really seem to be on the same page with what they want the culture to be, what they want this team to be, how they want to move forward in building a winner for this program. I want to ask you, because Pete Carroll said it starts now. Here we go. He's all fired up. He was as fired up as we expected him to be. But how realistic is what you heard from Pete Carroll doable on the field?
Well, it's really not, I don't think, is the main answer. And I'll also say that, he said that, and I think that's the right thing to say to fans and to players to get them fired up. But we talked to Mark Davis a little bit afterwards, and he said, I didn't give him a timetable like that. I said, build a foundation. We want something that's lasting more than a quick fix. So I would expect that that's the approach that they take. John Spytek, the new general manager, who I think was a phenomenal hire, he is a guy that has really built through the draft. That's what his forte has been, a guy that's been around to different organizations, between the Eagles, the Broncos, a little time with the Browns, and now with Tampa Bay the last few years, and they have really built through the draft, and he gave us the numbers. 44 of their 53 players last year were drafted or unsigned free agents. It's a big number. All but two of their starters came through the draft for the Buccaneers. That's how they like to build a team. That's how he likes to build a team. So I think they're going to try to look more long-term. Not that they can't win soon, but I did hear a quote from John Spytek that was last year. It wasn't about the Raiders in particular, but he said, you want to think about the future, you want to consider the future, but every Sunday it's your responsibility to put a team on the field that can win. And I think that's going to be what they want to do. Maybe not the results that you're going to want this year necessarily, but I think what you're going to see is a building in the right direction. I think that's what the plan is going to be, and that's what the plan should be. Like, you're not going to put together a quick fix and beat the Chiefs. It's not going to happen in this division.
Not in that division.
You want to build something for the future that you can eventually compete with them every single year, and I think that's the plan for this organization.
Yeah, and reading quotes from former players of Pete Carroll, they talked about culture. He talked about it again today. But what do you believe the right culture should be beyond the winning, trying to win right now? Because I know you wrote a column in the paper about Spytek where he doesn't believe in tanking. He doesn't believe in giving up at all in terms of, for a better record, for a better draft pick. I don't think Pete Carroll does, and being around him just the short time we've been around him. But what beyond the football wins and losses should this culture be? Because I think one thing Pete Carroll does bring is stability, experience. He's done it for so long, knows how to run a football team, how to run a football program. How important is his experience going to be to building what they want here?
Well, culture is a weird word. I mean, I think in the end what culture is winning. Like, if you win, it's a good culture. If you lose, it's a bad culture. That's how we analyze it. That's how we look at it. But I think what Pete Carroll is about is energy and fun and competition. Competition is his big word. Compete. It's a pun, but it's a real thing for him. That's what they want to do, and Spytek talks about the same thing. So it's a competition of culture, but at the same time having fun, remembering why you play the game in the first place. That's a big Pete Carroll thing. So you'll watch that, but in the end, you analyze culture based on if a team's winning or not.
If you win or not.
And that's how it's going to be judged here with the Raiders, without question. And we'll see. They're saying all the right things today. I'm not surprised by that. I think Spytek, again, great hire, great communicator. Pete Carroll's done this for many, many years, so he knows what he's doing. So
you're a Michigan fan. Spytek went to Michigan.
I am, and he did say, he's uncomfortable with Ohio State players, but he'll find them if he has to. I'm okay with that. I'm okay, and I'm sure some of the Ohio State players in the locker room, Tommy Eichenberg and Thayer Munford among them, probably aren't thrilled with that statement necessarily, but we will see. And obviously Tom Brady from the top, a Michigan guy as well, college teammate of John Spytek. So we heard, I think, all the right things today that you want to hear. It really means nothing in the grand scheme of things. It's all about what you do on Sundays during the regular season, but off to a good start with the new regime here with the Raiders.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they both came off well. I think they both came off with their own thoughts, but also, like I said before, they seemed very together. They said they've only been talking for 2 days.
Yeah.
So they seemed like forever. It seemed like forever when they were
And I thought, to that point, I think the fact that they are already joking with each other. Pete Carroll kind of took a shot at Spytek a little bit, a little friendly jab, because Spytek was talking about, his I think it was his dad who was still coaching high school at 75, and he looked at Pete Carroll. Yeah. Pete's like, why are you looking at me?
Why are you looking at me?
What are you talking about? So, you already see that little banter back and forth. So it's a good thing, good communication, good chemistry between them from the start. So that'll do it from here with the Raiders. For Ed Graney, Adam Hill with the Las Vegas Review Journal. Thank you.